Hey guys, let's talk about an early game plan for the Week 2 matchup with the Dallas Cowboys. This is the Out of Breath Armstar Packer Minute, the most narcissistic game of Packer Talk and Frogger you can ever imagine watching on YouTube. I'm Brady, and I know you're asking, geez, training camp is right around the corner. Why are we talking about Week 2 already? Well, I wanted to kind of piggyback, and I know we're in a series as well, so I am going to get back and finish up the series that we were doing on our rookie draft choices. Today I want to talk about the Cowboys for a couple of reasons. One of those is Zeke Elliott was in the news today with some allegations. They're just allegations. There was an altercation in a Dallas nightclub. He was involved. This could become a distraction at best and suspension at worst. Worst for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to speculate on any of that, but the second reason I wanted to talk about the Dallas game plan today is because on Good Packer Nation Morning, this morning, and I do that show Monday through Friday live from our Facebook account. You can see that anytime you want. Chime on in. We did talk about the Cowboys, and we talked about their schedule, and the Cowboys have a very difficult schedule as well. Now, I know we've talked a lot about the Week 1 matchup against the Seattle Seahawks, but we haven't talked much about getting in depth about what it would take for the Green Bay Packers to beat the Dallas Cowboys in this sort of second year of Dak Prescott, second year of Ezekiel Elliott. So today with Zeke Elliott in the news, the game was on my mind. I thought I would chat with you guys about it and piggyback off the discussion that we talked about on Good Packer Nation Morning this morning, because what I'm going to do is go a little more in depth about what I think the Packers will need to do to get a win against the Cowboys. And I said Week 2. Week 2 is the Atlanta Falcons. Week 5, I believe. We play, let's see, we've got the Seahawks, the Falcons. We play the Cincinnati Bengals, come back with the Bears Week 4, and then I'm pretty sure it's Week 5, the Dallas Cowboys. Hope I'm laying that out correctly. But, of course, now, if we're going to talk about early game plan, that calls for some speculation. Training camp is right around the corner. Which guys are going to develop? Which guys are going to step up? We don't even know what the roster is going to be, but to my mind, and you guys can comment if you agree, to my mind, I think there are going to be less surprises in the roster this time around than we've seen in the past. I think there are going to be less undrafted free agents that make the team, and frankly, I think this draft that we have, we're going to be finding ways to keep the guys we've got. We've got a glut at the running back position right now, and we have a glut at the wide receiver position. And it says, do not enter over my shoulder. I was going to try to make a smart quip off of that, but I couldn't think of anything. It's Monday. So I'm excited about training camp. I can't wait to see how Kevin King develops in particular, since he's had a little bit of a setback. I want to see Vince Beagle get on the field. We talked about him in past weeks when we were talking about the draft choices. We'll continue that discussion as well this week. But to my mind, you kind of know, for example, let's talk about the offense. I mean, we know who the quarterback is. We know pretty much, unless Corey Linsley has a setback, Linsley at center, our line is going to be unchanged except for Jari Evans playing the right guard position. And David Bakhtiari was on Wilde and Tausch, if you didn't catch that, interviewed on Wilde and Tausch last week. I believe it was Thursday or Friday. And he had some interesting comments about the line, talking about how, one of the things that we lost with TJ is his big personality. Same thing with Josh Sitton. He mentioned Josh Sitton as a big personality guy. And so David Bakhtiari said the one thing we need to find out about our offensive line is what is our identity. I mean, David's still there. We've still got Brian Bulaga anchoring the tackle position. We input Jari Evans where we had TJ Lang, hoping that Corey Linsley is healthy for if not the preseason training camp, at least for the season itself, which I don't think he would have any problem plugging in. And then, of course, Lane Taylor replaced Josh Sitton more than admirably last year, him being the one with the key block that allowed Aaron Rodgers to throw the pass to Jared Cook. That gave us a chance to win that game where Mason Crosby kicked 2 50-plus yarders. So on the offensive side of the ball, I don't expect too many surprises. Our main questions are, How many wide receivers are we going to keep? Which ones hold serve on the team? Same thing with the running back situation. We've got 3 rookie running backs that we brought in. How many of those are we going to keep? Are we going to trade off? I've kind of talked about, if you haven't heard me on Good Packer Nation Morning, I've kind of talked about trading off Carriage's roster spot at the fullback position for an extra tailback and going ahead and bringing and being able to keep 4 tailbacks that way. I don't think the fullback position adds too much, and I think Aaron Ripkowski is as good as it gets. Here comes the loud part of the show again, by the way. But I think on offense, we're pretty well set. On defense, on the other hand, we have question marks in terms of starting from the defensive backfield. You know, we're set at safety with Morgan Burnett and Clinton Dix, and then we'll inject Josh Jones into that conversation as a rookie, but we're not sure exactly what position he's going to play. Now, the cornerback situation has, I think, gotten better. Number 1, we brought in Devon House. He's a veteran. Some people are high on him. Some people think he's going to be a bust. I think he's going to be a very good addition, being a veteran cornerback and a guy who can man up on the perimeter and help us out a little bit. I don't see him as a world beater. I don't see him as you know, any kind of nicknames coming for Devon House, but I think he's going to be an important player on our team. The biggest question is, how does Kevin King develop? And I think probably the second biggest question is, how good are the guys we had last year who were hurt and who did not play well? So we'll see what happens with that. The inside linebacker position, Martinez needs to take a step. Jake Ryan showed some ability in the pass rush last year a little bit, but he had some health issues as well. We'll see what happens with those guys. Joe Thomas played the nickel cornerback, and then of course we know our bookend outside linebackers that we are so hoping can stay healthy, and Clay Matthews and Nick Perry are going to be basically they're going to be our pass rush, I believe. I think Dean Lowry gets thrown into the mix. We're looking for an upgrade, second-year player Kenny Clark to do something, and a lot of people are high also on Montravius Adams, so we'll see how that pans out after training camp. These are the questions we can't answer at this point. Now, week 5, so I guess when we come to the Dallas Cowboy game, if we want to talk about an early strategy or game plan, we have to answer who are the outside, who are the perimeter cornerbacks. And I think by that time, the perimeter cornerbacks are going to be Kevin King and Devon House. The development of King, I think, at that point will have determined whether he's a number 1 and Devon House is on the number 2, or vice versa. And I think in the case of the Dallas Cowboys, I think we're okay either way. Now, I would love to see Kevin King come on in week 2 against the Atlanta Falcons because we've got, you know, obviously Julio Jones. And then week 3 against Cincinnati with A.J. Green, it doesn't get any easier. These are 2 premier wide receivers in the NFL. And for him to develop and really come on as a stud quickly, sooner rather than later, would be a big boon for the Packers defense. I've said I think his development is the actual linchpin of how this defense trends in 2017. So with all that said, and I know this is a longer show than usual, but I guess maybe if you're starving for Packer news, that's okay with you right now. But you know, I look at this game, we got to play at Arlington. When you're playing away in a loud stadium, it's a big stadium, my initial response is, you know, Aaron Rodgers loves to start with, he loves to do the no-huddle offense. He loves to hurry up. He loves to lock defenses in. And he loves to get 12 men on the field when they try to substitute. And I love that too, to be quite honest. However, I think at Arlington that would be more difficult to maintain. I think that's something in terms of no huddle. I see them rolling that out in Series 1. Series 1, you can basically have all the calls played. You have more preparation for that series, really, than any of the other ones. And perhaps Series 1 of the second half as well. See if you can put some pressure on. Remember, Dallas Cowboys' downfall is their defense. Their defense is not loaded with studs. They are well coached. They stay in their positions. They play sound defense, but they don't have a lot of world beaters in terms of playmakers. And this year, that's going to be even more difficult, and because the Packers' offense can put yet more pressure on opposing defenses than they've even been able to in the past. There's the old factory. That's the fan that you heard in the background. It's a beautiful day, by the way. So the Packers defense is going to be able to put even more pressure on. And if we go no huddle, what I'd like to see is let's get Martellus Bennett involved in this game early. The Dallas Cowboys defense, they have some strength at linebacker, but they're between their linebackers and their cornerbacks, they don't have any superstars. Let's get Martellus Bennett on some crossing routes over the middle. Listen, I've talked about it in the past, and Mike McCarthy, I think, has hinted that he doesn't like to go across the middle too often because it's so risky for his players, and especially your slot guy like Randall Cobb. And that's the last thing I want, is for Randall Cobb to spend another year dinged up. I'd love to see what he can do if he's healthy the entire season. However, and if you look at Jared Cook last year, he was a speed burner more than anything else. Martellus Bennett, not so much of a speed burner. He's not quite as fast, but he's 6'6" and 6'6" in height. So this is a guy that is going to dole out the punishment across the middle. Let's get him involved early and often and get that ball moving down the field. I do think we're going to use the run game more, but I'm a little hesitant in that first series from scrimmage. I say, tell Aaron Rodgers, listen, you've got the weapons. You are a weapon, and you have the weapons. We're going to lean on you series one. We're going to take the fight to them. We're going to put them down by 7 and see what our defense can do. At this point in the first series from scrimmage, you're not concerned about how long your defense has been on the field. You're not concerned about them being gassed. They're out there and they're ready to rock. And the best thing they can do is trot out on the field up 7-0. And give the defense a chance. So I say we go hurry up. We don't worry about scoring slow the first series, but after that, bring the running game in. Make sure we got Ty Montgomery. Let's make sure that we manage the third down possessions so that we end up with 3rd and long, and that requires running the ball to some extent. Of course, what you're going to do is you're going to read the box and see how the Dallas has adjusted, but if you've been throwing over top of any pressure they're sending and any extra guys they've had in the box, that box is going to loosen up. So the box loosens up. Now Ty Montgomery goes to work. After Ty Montgomery goes to work, maybe in the 3rd quarter, the play action is there for us. We know Ty Montgomery is great after contact. He's elusive, and he's awesome in space. So if Ty Montgomery gets going in the run game, play action is going to be there all day long. Now, all through that, of course, you have your perimeter guys like Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams. These guys are going to be running those goes and those posts and the double move. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers is going to lay one up there and take your shots when you got them. But I don't want to see us force the perimeter game so much in the Dallas Cowboys game. I would love to see us throw a little more of a West Coast style, throw the slants, get Martellus Bennett involved early, and then get up. If we can get up and then the defense has a chance to hold out, then play a little more of a possession game. And I know with Aaron Rodgers, and I think Mike McCarthy is more of a possession coach, but he gets in trouble. He gets called conservative for it. I think Aaron Rodgers is a put your foot on the gas. We got a little woodchuck down here. Oh, he went in a hole. All right, show him to you. Aaron Rodgers is a put your foot on the gas. And I think, to be quite honest, in 2017, we're going to see a meeting of the minds where Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, we keep our foot on the gas, but we still continue to be creative, and we still continue to take what the defenses give us. And I think there's going to be some really brilliant offensive play, to be quite honest. So, if we can get a lead, like maybe we can go up 10-7, something like that. Obviously, I have always been a proponent of what Mike McCarthy is a proponent of. Defer. If you win the coin toss, to defer. I would say the same thing in this case, though. If we were to win the toss, go ahead and defer. I'm talking about our first offensive series, regardless of where it mounts. Now on defense, this is a defense that you're going to have to pay attention to the box. We know we've got to have a strong box against Ezekiel Elliott and that Cowboys offensive line. So guys like Josh Jones, get him on the field. Get him on the field. I know he's a rookie, but we saw Micah Hyde able to track down quarterbacks on the corner blitz. He came off a corner blitz in the game against, Washington, or it may have been the game against the Eagles last year. And Josh Jones is going to be a guy with much better physicals than Micah Hyde. The only difference is Micah Hyde is a brilliant NFL player. But I say cut Josh Jones loose Or, I mean, the flip side of that is to let Josh Jones range in sort of a single high look and rotate down into the box Morgan Burnett, or on passing downs. Let's get Clinton Dix involved. This defense, to my mind, truly excels when the defensive backfield is playing well enough that we can, once in a while during this, maybe 3-4 times a game, we have the luxury of sending a defensive back on a blitz, a corner blitz, a safety blitz. When we had Charles Woodson, we were doing that from time to time, and we were successful. If we can start getting successful, and frankly, if Josh Jones shows some ability in that regard, I say cut that kid loose and tell him, you go hammer the quarterback. We'll take care of the back end for you on the way around. We got Morgan Burnett back there. We got Clinton Dix back there. And if our perimeter guys are strong and can hold for just long enough, they don't have to hold forever. They just have to hold long enough for the pressure to get home. You add to that Clay Matthews, and I think our pressure against Dallas has a chance to be kind of a difference maker in that. And really all we need to do is hold up their, they've got a great tight end in Jason Witten. They still have Des Bryant, who I don't think is as effective as he has been in the past. Ladarius Gunter has taken care of him at times. And I think Kevin King, if he ends up on him, but even Devon House, I think has a good chance of having a decent game. Now, these guys are going to make their plays. We know that. But if we can just hold out enough to get pressure home at the right time, I think we've got a very good chance against the Dallas Cowboys. To me, on defense, on offense, managing third downs is getting into third and short. If we get into third and short with Ty Montgomery, Martellus Bennett, and then Jordy and Devontae Adams, Cobb on the field, it's going to be dangerous. On defense, it's third and long. Look at last year. We gave up so many third and longs. If we can just close in and either get the pressure home or not have to play in a soft zone look or a quarters look and end up singled up when the tight end does a seam route, I think that we will be successful on defense against the Cowboys. But I do think it all comes down to how this team has to do better on third and long. If we don't do that, we're in trouble for the whole year. Look at the schedule. I mean, by the time we play the Dallas Cowboys, we're going to have played the Seahawks, we're going to have played the Atlanta Falcons, we're going to have played the Cincinnati Bengals, and we're going to have played the Bears. The Bears in there being the only team that is not either a perennial playoff team or at least not very far removed from being a playoff team. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are the only ones, maybe last year they didn't make it, but they've been there virtually every year since Dalton has been around, and their defense looks good, and their offense, I think, will be even better. So, all right, so it's going to be a tough go. Dallas is always tough. We know that they're going to be coming for revenge. However, I think maybe we can kind of take advantage of that with a fast start in the game, but then also let's show them what we can do with defensive pressure. And let's roll out by week 5, for crying out loud. If we aren't ready to roll out Kevin King by week 5, we have done something wrong as a coaching staff. Let's get Kevin King out there, shut down Des Bryant, let Devon House take care of his business, or vice versa. I don't honestly care which. But then our pressure starts to get there, and we can send guys like Josh Jones. We can get 3 safeties on the field. We can get Kentrell Bryce and Josh Jones. If you got Josh Jones up in the box as an inside linebacker, you can still have Kentrell Bryce in the backfield. And Dom Capers has done what's been called in the past the dime plus package. And basically, you end up with 8 DBs on the field by the time all is said and done. So we'll see how the Packers decide to do it. Of course, we still have to get to training camp, but I just thought I'd talk about some sort of early strategies that I thought would be important if the Packers are to beat the Cowboys. So that's going to do it for the Out of Breath Armstar Packer Minute for today. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you do, go ahead and subscribe down below. And I will continue to do this show on a daily basis. Likely tomorrow we will be back talking about our second drafted rookie running back, Aaron Jones, to finish up that series. But I do want to piggyback it with Good Packer Nation Morning, my Monday through Friday show, and I hope you'll check that out as well. All right, folks, you have a good day. Take a walk. It's healthy. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Go Pack.